Does the amount of weight you lift matter, or is it how heavy you make that weight feel? When I started training about 100 years ago, fitness magazines often repeated this phrase. It's not how heavy the weight is, but how heavy it feels, or some variation on that. And the point they were making was that you shouldn't lift for your ego. It doesn't matter if you're lifting 30 pounds or 300, as long as you're doing it with concentration and effort, you'll see results. But I think that idea gets misinterpreted a lot. People tend to think the weight doesn't matter at all as long as they're lifting something. In other words, if they're just consistent going to the gym and going through the motions, they'll get results. And I see people doing this every day, lifting the same weights they were last year and the year before that, and their bodies never change. That's because they're ignoring the principle of progressive overload, which is that you always should be trying to make your workouts more challenging. And the main way you do that is by gradually increasing weights over time. How heavy the weight feels is a vague concept. 10 pounds is light to me, but if I'm exhausted or I'm not recovered when I go to lift it, it's gonna feel a lot heavier than usual. That doesn't mean I'm gonna get a better workout than usual with that 10 pounds just because it feels heavier. If anything, the workout will be worse. If you judge your workouts purely by how you feel doing them, you can't gauge progress. But if you go from lifting 10 pounds to 15 to 20, you know for certain you're getting stronger. Now, with all that said, there is another saying in fitness that I really do like, and it's make light weights heavy. This is what "it's not how heavy the weight is, but how heavy it feels" was intended to be. But I think it's a better way of phrasing it. What make light weights heavy really means is to use techniques like performing the negative of a rep a little bit more slowly, maybe pausing your body in the bottom position of a squat, or avoiding lockout on squats and presses, and other things that make your sets harder to perform. Doing this stuff makes what would otherwise be a lightweight much more challenging to use, and it forces you to master it before you add load. So it cuts down your risk of injury and demands that you be very present when you train so you can focus on what you're doing, which I am all for. So my point is, always be pushing yourself to get stronger and find new challenges in your training, because that's the only way you can make progress. But that doesn't mean add weight before you're ready. Get the most out of lighter weights first.